And then they add on other things, spending time with my kids, eating my favorite food, drinking a bottle of water. If I don't drink a bottle of water in a day, I don't feel balanced, right? So I encourage you to understand who you are so you can find out what is going to give you your balance and give you your true wealth. Because that's going to matter a whole lot more than just going out and making a bunch of money. Like if you go make a bunch of money, like if you become an entrepreneur, and this is where the conversation led me down that direction. Is the person was talking about the fact that they don't want to work countless hours running a business. Well, you got to think about that when you go run a business. Like, don't go do something just because people said you can make more money doing it. Don't go just jump into an industry just because there's more money there. And this is counter to your training. You were trained as a kid to believe that you should go do any job anybody offers you that pays you the most money. If somebody said, I'll pay you $300,000 a year to shovel manure all day, a lot of people will jump at that job. And there's nothing wrong with that, not judging that. But I think maybe taking a moment to reflect on what you really want to do and figuring out like sort of what's your tipping point, right? Maybe if you're destitute and you have no other opportunities, of course, you do what you got to do, right? But what happens when you get to the point where you got enough? You got enough food. You got enough savings in the bank. You got a good quality of life. Maybe you got a good woman or a good man next to you. You got some kids you love and you want to spend time with them. And then somebody else comes along. The curse of being good at things is that something else always comes along. But there's another opportunity to go make a little more money. How do you make that choice? Like, be very, very intentional. I like that word intentional. That's our word for today, intentionality. Be very intentional about how you make that choice. Because I can tell you just in terms of my own life, when I got good at what I do and people recognized that I was good at what I did, the opportunities never stopped coming. There's always another opportunity for me to do another interview. There's always another opportunity for me to give another speech and to get paid plenty of money to give that speech. Another opportunity to write another book. Another opportunity to take another trip, right? But you know what stops me is I say, no, me and my 10-year-old are going to the park today. And that is more important than coming on to the Breakfast Club, right? Or I promised Alicia that I would watch Star Trek with her tonight, and I'm gonna do that. And that's gonna interfere with my ability to come on your podcast or whatever it is that you want me to do, or to do this other thing for money. Or I don't want to travel anymore. So no, I know I'm giving up money, but I apologize. I just can't do it, right? So figure out where your tipping point is, so you can find the right balance. If you go into owning your own business, remember there's a million ways to skin that cat. Diving in as a full-time entrepreneur is not a requirement for you to generate some of the income that comes from being a business owner. There are situations that might emerge for you where someone else has a great skill and a great business and a great passion. Let's say, for example, I've always wanted to go deeper into the hair industry, and I have some investments there. I want to get more. If somebody comes along and says, I have a hair salon and it's making money and I need capital to get this thing going, then my job would be, I'd be like, okay, here's what I can do. I can go raise some money to make the investment. And also I can be a hype man. I can tell people about the business to help with the marketing. But I don't want to go into a hair salon every day. I don't want to do hair. I don't want to learn a new skill. That's not of interest to me, right? Remember, your time is actually your most valuable commodity, but you probably have been convinced to believe that money is the most valuable thing you can access. Well, the paradox is that if you're good at what you're doing, and after you finish making the moves that you're making right now, you'll get to a point where money isn't so scarce anymore, and you're going to have to shift back to understanding the value of your time. Do not let people waste your time. It's very, very important. Okay, so next question. Let's see here. These are the questions you submitted. Hold on. I'm clicking here. All right. Next question is from SC. Hey, Dr. Boyce, what would be your recommendation platform or app for trading options in the UK? That's a good question. Shout out to all of the Black Londoners that listen every day. I love you all very much. I love Black London. I cannot wait to see you again. When I went to London and we did an event, and it was totally packed. Like, all you guys came out, and I just want you to know how much I love you. And London's actually one of my favorite cities anywhere. There are a few. I'm going to name a few in London. I got a little list. Saxo Market, Saxo Capital. There's a company called IG, a company called SpreadX, another company called Info. Another way you might want to do that is go to some of the bigger banks by London and just tell them what you're trying to do, and they can guide you to some sort of platform that will allow you to do that. Same thing is true for any country that you're in right now. Shaquan Talley. Good morning, Dr. Watkins. What would happen to the stock market if the app that I own is no longer available in the future? Don't worry if your app goes out of business and it's a major company like Robinhood or Stash. You're not going to lose your money. Your money is protected because remember, you own the stock. The app does not own your stock. You own that stock. So if I own shares of GE, that's technically a deal between me and GE. I can go to GE and talk to them as a shareholder about the shares I bought in their company. The broker is just the middleman. The broker is the person or the entity that makes the deal happen. They're not the actual owner of the asset. So keep that in mind. Okay, next, Erin Wilson says, does highest implied volatility matter as much when selling a call? What are other things I should look for when deciding which stock to buy for selling options? When I go through my method of looking for which stock to buy for selling options, I look at a stock to see what that stock has done over time. If it's a stock that has had some crazy price swings and 50% drops and stuff like that, I'd be really careful about that. I look at what type of industry the company's in. There are lots of factors that can go into play with that. And so, and actually, that's the next masterclass I'm going to do. I've literally been putting that together for a year, and I'll let you guys know when I announce it. And we're going to spend a weekend, and I'll break down my whole process really carefully. I just want to keep testing it out before I actually release it to anybody. Because if the lab